I'm Vanessa Louise. Welcome to Choose You, Choose Bliss, where we believe in one goal, one purpose, love. Through shared experiences, we aim to enlighten, enrich, and enroll you in actively applying the tools and techniques to enable and continue healing for your whole self. Now is the time to take back our power, reconnect with our true selves, each other, including the world around us, and live life with confidence, purpose, and joy. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing you. In this lively conversation, we look at the shocking statistics of depression and discuss from personal experience. Is depression perhaps a mask we wear, a cloak that conceals, and an all too familiar way of being because we're too frightened to look at or don't believe in the beauty of who we truly are? Yet deep down we know there is a raw, a very real part of us wanting to express itself. Come along for the ride as my guest and I bring our version of light to this dark subject consuming too many beautiful people. As ever, it's an absolute blessing to be here sharing space with you all. And today we're talking about depression and mental wealth. So let's dive straight in and get emotionally naked with the real deal, the real Mr. Neil Giller. How are you this morning? I'm so excited.
Greeting. Listen, if you're excited, you've got a sad life, my lovely. Seriously. Do you know what? First of all, greetings, whoever's out there listening. V, thank you very much for having me. There's not many people that will. They give me back afterwards. But seriously, thank you very, very much for having me. A great topic and what you're doing, putting it out there in the ether. Even big props to you, my lovely. Seriously, big props. We need more people like you in the world.
Oh, bless you. Well, thank you. I will receive that gracefully. But you're right. It is a truly important topic. Depression and mental wealth. I like that. I will ask you a little bit more about the wealth bit at the end as we chat. But I saw something that got my attention, and as a quote, if you like, about depression, that depression is sadness without hope. And I'll ask you your thoughts, obviously, in a second. But depression is one of the most prevalent mental health disorders affecting 1 in 6 adults in the UK. It's also associated with other mental health issues such as anxiety, stress, and loneliness. And research shows that women are twice as likely to experience depression than men. Over 15% of women receive treatment for depression compared to only 9% of men. And I can see you smiling, so let's start here. Statistics are really helpful for insights that we've spoken about, but they're not specific for the individual. So please do share about your personal experience and what you understand depression to be, my lovely.
Well, again, thank you very much for opening this subject. It needs to be opened even more. And I'm a true believer that the stigma that has been put on this over the years, it's kind of getting busted a little bit, V. You know, what happens is it's the warriors, i.e. the people that are the sufferers, that need to be real with themselves. And I sometimes feel that you're not the first podcast I've done, so don't be offended by any chance by it, right? But I think that it's about the individual and how the individual looks at it. So my story with mental health, mental wealth, is my brother suffered very, very badly, and did do since he was maybe 16, 17. And I was always one of these people, very old school, very much like my father. Come on, pull yourself together. Come on, pull yourself together. It was very old school. So a very quick synopsis. I ran a business with my brother. My brother kept on falling down on a regular basis. And I was basically, come on. And I didn't appreciate where he was and how he was feeling until it came and hit me, you know? So I didn't I've always been a happy-go-lucky kind of human being. I've always had a laugh. I've always had a joke. But as we know, Vanessa, those are the people that are more susceptible to it. You know, it's a mask.
Yeah.
Right. But I decided, first of all, I decided when I had a breakdown, a couple of weeks later, I heard someone turn around and say, it's not a breakdown, it's a breakthrough.
Nice.
So that's the first thing that I want to discuss today. I could have counted it as a breakdown and wallowed in my own pity.
Nice.
Instead, I understood that it was a breakthrough. It was
reframe.
What? Sorry?
It's a reframe.
Absolutely, 100%, Vanessa. You know, and it's how you look at it. You know, I could have sat there and gone, "Woe is me." I could have sat there and gone, "Right, I'm going to sit in this pity party," which I call it quite a lot. I'm going to sit in this pity party because I enjoy sitting in this pity party. You know, and there's a lot of people out there that, and I don't want this to sound the way that it's going to sound. They're all right being depressed, you know. Yes. But with me, I decided that I was going to treat it as a breakthrough. And that business that I was speaking about with my brother, I shut that business down within 4 months of him falling down and me falling down. Wow. The main reason being was a fantastic business that was lacing our pockets with whatever we wanted, worth my brother's life and or my life. The answer to that question is absolutely 100% no.
Love it.
You know, and if there's a message out there that we've started off with, if you're in business and you're struggling, go and speak to someone. Listen, I've got a beautiful human being on the end here called Vanessa Louise that will listen to you. I also listen to people as well, right? But don't be scared. I think one of the most amazing things that you can do for yourself is actually allow yourself to talk about how you're feeling.
Yes.
You know, so this mental health, this mental wealth, you have a choice. And I think you know me well enough to know that one of my sayings is them choices.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I've got that underlined on my page because I was just about to ask you about that. Yeah.
So it's a choice. And my choice was I'm going to research this. My choice was I'm going to speak to loads of people to see how they felt. My choice was not to sit in that pity party. But one of my biggest choices was to share where I'd been, how I feel. And I don't have a problem telling people how I feel. There's a lot of people out there, I'm going to use the word stigma again, that feel it's a stigma. It's not a stigma. You know, I mean, I'll give you an idea, and I know that we're going to be speaking about other stats as well. My youngest daughter, who is beautiful, turned around and said the other day, "Oh, I'm broken," because she also suffers. And I was like, "No, Baba, you're not broken. You're just trying to deal with something different." "No, I'm broken." So if you sit there and think you're broken, your mind's listening to you.
Well, that's exactly it. That's just one end of the stick, as I call it a lot in my work. That's you've touched on, is it a breakdown or a breakthrough? It's potentially both, one end of the stick, but how you chose to look at it is what made the difference. So you have a choice, and the choice you made was to research, to look at what help was out there, and to share and be a voice for the people that I think is it fair to say that some people don't even know they're depressed? And I think that's the struggle, is because we feel so isolated and so alone and just feel generally a bit crap that we don't have that label on it. And then even if there is a label, then we struggle to share because we are not used to feeling. So we don't actually know what it is to share. And I'm keen to have any tough conversation. I think it's necessary to have conversations. And that's why I say, let's talk about it. Because I would love to think that any discussion that we have, if we're sharing about our own personal experiences, that something might just resonate with somebody listening that are either experiencing that themselves or are living with or are aware of somebody that they might think, so that they can search for that help or be that help.
Absolutely. Do you know what? You touched on something there. You know, I'm fully aware of how my partner has to deal with me.
Yeah.
Right? But am I really? right? So you know me well enough to know that I post quite a lot on social media.
Yeah.
The majority of it, there's loads of swear words, but I think the crux of me posting was when I first started on social media. There was so much negativity, or people showing you what they'd eaten or where they'd gone. What I try and do is I try and keep it real and raw.
Yeah.
And what I find that people come out of the woodwork, right? Because they look at you and they turn around and go, 1 second, you're a happy-go-lucky guy. What? You're a depressive.
Yeah.
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 You know? And the other thing that you turned around and said as well, and I think we've had this conversation before, and I'll refer to one of my brand newest clients who logged on, and the first session is, I want to know exactly who you are, right? And I want you to open up. I want you to be real. I want you to be raw. And whenever I ask someone how they are, it's an English colloquialism. It's a throwaway sentence. How are you? Right? Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. And then it moves on. The conversation moves on. Everyone will always turn around and go, I'm all right, thanks. Right? Unless you've got one of those friends that tells you absolutely everything that's wrong with them. Right? But I've got shitloads of them. Right? Right? What I do is, as soon as I've asked that question, are you all right? And they answer me, I ask them exactly the same question again.
Yeah. You're good at that.
And they're like, you just asked me the same question again. I went, yeah, because I want the real answer.
Yeah. And actually, to let them know that you truly care. You're not just passing the time.
I want to know how you are.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Even if it's that little window of 5 minutes where they can turn around and go, I'm not all right. The husband or the wife, the kids, the business. I can't get out of bed. I'm aggravated all the time. I'm pissed off with people. I'm angry with myself. I allow that space.
Yeah.
You know? I feel a lot of people in that first session understand what Neil Giller's all about. I actually care about every single human being.
Love it.
Because I've been there, I've seen it, I've done it, and I've got every single fucking colour T-shirt to prove it. Do you know what I mean?
And you wear them well. Because I think I know when I went through my dark night of the soul, and I've been through there many times, but I remember distinctively one time at the back end of 2016, before I really stepped into the power of the work I'm so passionate about, is I promised myself I would never let anybody go through that by themselves if they didn't want to.
Absolutely.
Because it is such a diverse subject. And I want to discuss the many facets around it with the intention to highlight, to bring to the surface, and to reveal and uncover the hidden threats that cause such a shitty condition like depression. So what are, for you, in your experience, with your own experience, and also because of the work that you do and the fact that you're so empathetic and compassionate that you notice in other people, what do you think are some of the telltale signs that someone might be feeling depressed?
First of all, you don't feel yourself.
Yeah.
And I'll always remember, I likened it to a greasy hole. Excuse the terminology, right? Sorry, excuse the terminology, but
you got this person slipping down when you say that,
yeah, and it's you don't know how to put that ladder up. As much as you hang on, you keep on slipping. You know. So, what are the telltale signs? We had a conversation just before we came online. There was a fantastic video put out by Norwich City Football Club. And it had two football supporters sitting next to each other. One was very loud and brash, and the other one was very demure, very, very quiet. And you're going through it. It was about a minute long. And the guy who's screaming and shouting and got a smile on his face, you're sitting there thinking to himself, yeah, he's all right. He's okay. And then it pans out after a minute where the guy who is loud isn't there anymore. And the guy that was softly spoken was sitting there. And then all of a sudden it dawns upon you that it wasn't the quiet one that was depressed. It was the loud, leery one. So, you know, it's about one of the metaphors that I love using is when we get on an aeroplane
Mm.
Every single aeroplane that we get on, they give you the safety talk,
Yep.
right? Which we all turn around and go, yeah, I've seen this before. Yeah. Well, every single time they turn around and say, put your mask on before you put anyone else's mask on. I think that really accentuates exactly where it is. So what the telltale signs? That's quite a difficult answer for me to give you, V, because some people will walk around how everyone perceives they should be, which is down in the dumps, not wanting to get out of bed,
Yeah.
being inwardly. Whereas some people, like myself,
And me.
and also like my brother, we're very gregarious, we're very outward, and it's a mask, and I don't mind admitting sometimes I sit there and, the work that you do, the work that I do, we're listening to people all the time. So what happens at the end of the day when you're sitting there and all this stuff has been put on you?
Yes.
How do you deal with it? Now, I'm fortunate enough that when I went through my breakthrough, I found the most phenomenal human being who I could just phone up and go, I need some help. And they're like, yeah,
Just
all right.
be that space for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're not there to solve it. They're there to, and this is an important part, they're there to listen.
Yes.
And you have to have people around you that are there to listen. Listen and silent, V,
Yeah.
use the same letters.
Just mixed up.
Right? It's just all like gobbledygook. So I love people that are willing to listen. And I think it's a trait of human beings. When we listen, we're thinking about our reply.
Yes.
So if there's one thing I could...
Just listening with our hearts.
Yeah. If there's exactly what you just said. Do you know what? Listen. Just listen. And do you know what? We do it with our children. We're both fortunate enough that we've got stunning children.
Yeah.
Right? But when they were kids, all we used to do was listen to reply.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like this. Yeah, well, you have to like it. No. We're all grown up now.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest things that I can turn around and say is listening is one of the most important tools that you've got. How can you tell if someone's depressed? Some people will tell you.
Yeah.
I think what you've got to do is go back to what I said before. If you are empathetic, asking that question twice will always alarm that person that you've asked twice.
Exactly. And that's twofold for me, is the fact that you're showing the person that you care. If you've asked it again, how are you? Yeah, lovely. No, how are you? Accentuating it lets them know that you are there and you care. And secondly, that I think that in my experience, you're offering a space that says, I'm here. And like you just said, for me, my terminology with that is I have so many people that verbally vomit in the space that I hold for them. Like it literally just blah, because they're holding stuff in because they don't know how to express themselves. They don't feel safe to be able to express the jumble chaos that's going on inside of them. And I think also one of the telltale signs for me was the fact that I numbed out. So I struggled to feel. I just felt crap. I felt heavy, and I would be jolly, bubbly Vanessa to hide the fact that I was miserable. In actual fact, I think my first blog was Little Miss Sunshine is a Miserable Bitch. And I just really struggled with that. And so do you find that we hide behind personas? We hide behind status and reputation. Why is it that you think that people really struggle to be able to share? So yes, the space might not be available for them to share in. It is there, but it might not be obvious, as in help at hand. Because we've got, like, there'll be charities like Mind and Samaritans, and, there's also, and Better Help and all of that is advertised. But sometimes we just need the people around us in the immediate space to be able to share in. But why do you think also that people struggle to, am I depressed? Talk about it, even know what to say? Why do you think they struggle?
It's a perception, Vanessa. It's what we think other people are going to think.
Yeah.
Now check this out, right? I'm fortunate enough that I now run a business that is all about people being real and raw, right? And I hold that space. Some people find it very, very difficult to use said space because they're so worried about what other people are thinking about them. And when I first started this journey, I always talk about my depression. 2017, December the 2nd at 6:30 in the morning, waking up, not knowing who I was, where I was, didn't want to be here. There's only 3 days in my life, in my 53 years, that I haven't wanted to be here. And it was that hole, it was that slippery hole. And we're always so worried about what other people are going to think about us, you know, when in fact, you know, it really doesn't matter what other people think about us.
No.
You will find your tribe, right? You will find your tribe. You will find people. And I think that the more and more, I mean, check this out. It's unfortunate. I always use this one guy as an example. You look at the likes of Robin Williams.
Yes.
Okay. Where we all looked at him as a joker.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff I've heard and seen him do, you know.
He was a bright light in our world.
Oh, you made me a little bit emotional there. Do you know what I mean? Because what we need to be doing is we need to be understanding. And there's a beautiful saying out there. It's okay not to be okay.
Yeah.
But on the other side of things, it's not okay not to be okay. And I know that sounded quite similar, Vanessa. So I'll say it again. It's okay not to be okay, but it's not okay not to be okay.
Absolutely.
Right? So there's I speak to people quite a lot about your why.
Yeah.
Because if we find out what your why is, it makes you more approachable. And my why, I found a stat a few years ago that 85 men a week decide that they no longer want to be here.
Gosh. That's too high.
Right. In the UK, 85 men a week decide that they don't want to be here. Okay. Now, if by doing what I do and by listening, using that word again, I can make it 83 or I can make it 82, then I've done what I was supposed to do. You know, there was a reason for me being depressed. There was a reason.
Yes.
So I could either use that experience to help others, or I can use that experience, lock it away, and not admit that I was in that position.
Oh, exactly. So you'll fight it, or you can use it to serve you. And
fight or flight.
Yeah.
Fight or flight.
Yeah.
Right? So I think what you've got to do is you've got to be really comfortable with yourself.
Yes.
Listen, anyone that I share that story with, if they turn around and think, oh, look at him, woe is me. Look at him, he's talking about that just to get more business. They're not my people.
No, absolutely. Yeah, right? Absolutely. Yeah.
My people are the ones that when I discuss where I've been and what I've done and where I am, they're like kind of like, yeah, I felt like that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's again, you're offering the space for people to, oh my gosh, me too, because it is isolating. We don't think people are going to understand. And I remember, because we're in the same coaching group, so we speak often, right? And I remember a couple of years ago, you said to me, how do you care for so many people? So I think there's about 35 of us in my group. And I remember saying to you that really got my attention, that I remember getting ready in the morning and a lot of my thinking time is in the shower. And I'd taken your question with me into the shower and I was like, how do I care for so many people? And then it hit me. I don't actually care about so many people. And this is going to contradict myself here. Let me just explain what I mean by that. What I realized, thanks to your question, was actually I look after me first, so that I then have the wherewithal, the capacity, I think is that one of my favorite words at the moment, because I have learned from that broken, bleak, dark place myself, going through my own stuff, that only when I care for myself am I able then to have the strength, the inner resolve, the capacity, the space, the time, the wherewithal to hold space for somebody else. So therefore you feel cared for. So yes, I care for you. So thank you for your question, because it really made me look at the fact that only when we, what did you say? it wasn't until I didn't appreciate where my brother was until it hit me. So you could see that your brother was struggling and you felt for him. He's your brother. You love him. Oh my gosh, I don't want this person I love to be falling apart the seams seemingly. And you go, oh dear, what can I do? Right? Until it hit you, the only thing that can be done is to allow ourselves to continue being done. And what I mean by that is look after ourselves. We're being done. We're being breathed. And we are naturally evolving whether we like it or not. We just get in the way of that by holding on to our shit. That, if for me, is depression. We're focusing too much on the past and allowing the past to dictate who we are, how we think, how we feel. And then we project that here and now into the future. So it's predictable. I'm always going to feel crap.
You know, you were talking about holding on to that shit. I did a TikTok a couple of years ago. Even if I say so, it was really good. I was walking along and I had a rucksack on. And I kind of like, okay, right, how can I put mental health and into a rucksack?
I remember it.
If we get a rucksack and we keep putting stuff in it, at some point what we've got to do is we've got to take stuff out of it and clean it all up and make sure that the stuff's in there is serving us.
Yes.
Right? So once a week, right, I've actually got my rucksack here, right? Once a week, right, I make sure that I empty this out just to make sure that everything that's in there is serving me.
Love it.
Right? And it's exactly the same thing. I mean, that's a visual for you.
Yeah.
Why do you have to have a visual like that to understand what's going on? So, you know what, in the world that we live in, it's 250 miles an hour, you know, and it's expected of us, i.e. you need to wake up in the morning, you need to have a shower, you need to get out of bed, you need to go and do a 9 to 5, you need to look after all your clients. Well, yeah, you do. But the most important person, you know, and I speak to people about this quite a lot, who is the most important person in your life?
Brilliant question.
Right? And that's like within my first session, because what I turn around and say to people is, so let me just use you as a bit of a dummy, yeah? If I say to you, right, Vanessa, I want you to write down who Vanessa Louise is, right? And the majority of people will write down who you are.
Yep, the labels that they are.
Right?
Yeah.
Who you are. When in fact, what I'm trying to make them understand is you're a mother, you're a sister, you're a daughter, you're a partner, you're a friend, you're an aunt, you're all of those. And what normally is left until the last is the most important person in your life.
Yeah.
And the most important person in your life, whether you like it or not, is you. The person that you've got to look in the mirror at every single day.
Yeah. And
I found it very, very difficult. Listen, I'm a handsome boy at the best of times, right? And I'm very modest as well, yeah? But that learning to look at yourself, I mean, we all sit there in the morning brushing our teeth and there's a mirror in front of us the majority of the time.
Yeah.
How many times do we actually look in that mirror?
Well, I think in my experience, we don't, because we struggle to look at our true self actually in the eyes, because this is an exercise I do with my clients. They look at their physical being, their skin, their hair, they're oh, I don't like this about myself or that. And they're brushing their teeth and they're not using that time to truly connect with the essence of who they are. And as you know, in the work that I love so much, is actually who you truly are is actually not physical. It's being carried around in a physical body.
Absolutely.
And I think that is where the outside, and we'll come actually, this is a perfect opportunity now to come to the stats I chatted to you about before we came on. Did
I just help you with a segue there, did I? Did I just help you?
You did. I love it. We've done this before, haven't we?
I'm here all week.
But it's just, I think that's the problem, is the comparison. I know it was for me. Comparisonitis kills joy. It is that cunning enemy. But yet we buy into it, not so much as we've got older, which is where I just want to take us to these stats that I found from an awesome company website called Champion Health. symptoms of anxiety and depression across the age groups, right? The highest group is 16 to 24-year-olds at 67% for anxiety and 61% for depression. That is shittingly shocking. And we've got kids in that age group. Then it goes down slightly from 66 for anxiety and 60 for depression for 25 to 34. These are our generation, our youngest generation that are coming through and making a difference in our world, and they are bloody struggling. And it worries me because it's then still really high at 35 to 45, at 63 and 59. And it only really
I'm waiting for my age to come into this equation.
Right, you and me both. Right. So this is 45 to 54 is 53 and 51 for anxiety and depression.
Wow.
It only goes below half when we get to 55 to 64 years old. And down.
Do you think that's we get to a point where we stop giving a fuck at that point?
I'll totally agree with you. I turned 50 this year, and I know that you're a similar age. And it gets to the point, and all I ever wanted was to not care about what people think. What people think of us is none of our business, right?
Absolutely.
However, our reputation, our ego will have us believe is I am what people think of me. But we get to a certain point in our life, and is it experience? Is it the fact we're sick and tired of feeling sick and tired? That we get to a point where we just go, that's it, no more. Line in the sand. So yes, weight of the years behind us, I think, for sure. But I think we get to the point where we go, the end of my life is closer. And actually, a bit of a regroup and a refocus and an appreciation that life is what I make it. And I don't mean that to sound flippant, because I genuinely want to help us, all of us, you and me both are in this. We still might have those feelings of that unlovely, that depression, that anxiety, all the rest of it. But we make a daily choice. I know you do as well, because we are in constant contact. You reframe it. The other end of the stick is crappy. There is another end of the stick. You reframe it. You choose your perspective that you want to have. You seek help. You look at how you can share. You look at how you can support. And I just want to help others understand that it is or it isn't, and the choice is theirs. How do we empower people to make the choice to choose the lovely end of the stick when they are feeling weighed down and overwhelmed?
Those stats are alarming, V.
Yeah.
And it brings it home. There's a couple of things that I'd like to discuss on that. First of all, you know, and this might sound rude, but I'll finish it off. I'll wrap it up and put a bow on it. It's not that I don't care what people think about me. It's that I can't care what people think about me.
Exactly.
Right. And if we look at it, if you look out in the big bad world, check this out. It's a car. Okay. And this is going to sound really, really strange, but bear with me. It's a car. It gets you from A to B. So why is it that people go and spend an absolute fortune on a Tesla, on a BMW, on a Ferrari? Well, do you know what it is? And if you've got any of those cars, don't get offended by what I'm going to say. You're keeping up with the Joneses because you care about how other people are perceiving you. Right? Now, let's flip it all the way to the other side of things, because those younger stats, what were the younger stats, 16 to 23?
67 anxiety, 61% depression.
That's all down to social media.
Yeah.
Social pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've both got kids in that bracket.
Yeah.
That are trying to make their way in the world.
And the pressure that they're under, being the millennials and being the new generation coming through, it's all about you. Come on, come on, come on. And I think they're like, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Who am I actually really? And also that age group have parents our age, roughly, that are only really just learning as we're under, and this is very broad, under that 50%, we're learning that it's not about all of the stuff they're struggling with. And yet we're 30 odd years older than them. So doesn't it speak about the fact that both age groups we need to learn to hold the space and allow them to work it out for themselves and fall over and learn through their own experience. We've got ideas about how they can help themselves. But I know with both of mine, I've said, absolutely, if you that's what you want to do, I'm here with you. Off you go. Unless they're going to run out in the road in front of a truck, then I will stop them. But generally and genuinely, I am like, absolutely, because I am right by their side when they hit that wall or they fall over. But I don't think many of us in our age group let our children work it out for themselves and hold the space for them.
Do you think that that's because a lot of people haven't been there before?
I think so. Or, and here's my thing with my work, is it about the fact they either haven't been there or they haven't allowed themselves to be there and actually own up to it. And they're caught up in, I work with so many people and the terminology I use is when their leg falls off, when it's too late, the diagnosis, the marriage breakdown, the house burns down, the whatever it is, death. That's when they go, shit, I need to do something about this. They're so caught up. And you and I both care so much about relieving that pressure for people so that they can give themselves a moment to just go, actually, you know what? It does hurt. I can't do this anymore. I want to look at it. Please help me open the can of worms.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, I had one client who pinged me in the morning, I can't get out of bed.
Wow.
And you look at this, seriously, if you looked at this person, they've got a lovely family, they've got kids, they go on holiday, they've got the cars, they've got all the bits and pieces, they've got a phenomenal business. And my answer to them was, well, stay in bed. And they were like, what? You're supposed to be my coach, you're supposed to be my mentor, you're supposed to be pushing me. I went, yeah, but I'm also okay just to hold that space. And sometimes,
yes, yeah,
if the biggest thing that you can do is get out of bed, then let that be the biggest thing that you can do.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just loving them where they are, because is it fair to say that we'll be in that unlovely pit hole of a place as long as we need to be before we then go, right, that's it. Whereas if sometimes we help people out before they're ready to be helped, they're only going to fall back again. And then that actually can be more damaging.
You have to decide that enough is enough.
Yeah, you for you.
I did a talk about this one word, enough. And I don't know whether you remember, I did a talk about it many, many years ago. Enough.
Yeah.
You're actually allowed to turn around and go, enough.
Yeah.
You're allowed to turn around and go, I can't get out of bed today. I can't have that conversation today. I can't be in that meeting for meeting's sake.
It's okay not to be okay. Totally.
It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, and there's such a stigma still to this day behind it. But I allow my people, and I speak to my people quite a lot, it's all right.
Yeah. And I think you do that with such genuine care and love that people can actually, what's coming to my mind as I visualize it, is people feel safe to be vulnerable with you. And I think that is the biggest block that we have as human beings is vulnerability.
You just said it.
I love my people, right? And ever since we met, right from, I think we'd only had a couple of text conversations before we met in person, and we literally ran down the gangway to each other and threw our arms around each other because we'd met a space in each other that we could be vulnerable.
Absolutely.
And that is limited in our outside world, I think. And that's the space I believe we all need, because vulnerability is that feeling safe enough, regardless of the judgment I will get from others or the outside. So it's not caring so much what people think, but I think the pain and the desperation that sometimes people feel, it forces them to be vulnerable. So well done you for holding that space for people. And I think it's essential, because not only are you helping that person, but that person then knows what it's like to be held in that space, non-judged, safe, loving, so they experience what it's like. So therefore they know that there's nothing to do for somebody else they love, but just listen and hold the space.
Just be.
That's part of the struggle though, lovely, isn't it? We struggle to, I call it the courage to be still.
Yeah.
To have the courage to be still. Let me, if I may just ask you, touching on the mental wealth bit, because this works in tandem. I think they're intrinsically linked. How do you stay well, healthy and loving? Like, what are now, as a result of living through your own dark place, coming out the other side, it's not done and dusted. It's not a bed of roses. We know that. And we are deluding ourselves if we are ever to believe that, yep, tick box done, right? And to quote you, them choices, right? What them choices do you make on a daily basis to keep yourself real and raw and loving the most important person in your universe first?
Well, as I said before, it's not that I don't care, it's that I can't care.
Yeah.
Okay, so the most important person in my life is me.
Well done, you, for saying that. I just want to acknowledge that, because a lot of people go, get him, that's selfish. And we want to say to that bullshit, right?
No, that's absolute. Do you know what? That's selfishness.
Yes.
Which is completely different.
Yeah,
okay?
It's the oxygen mask. I can't love you if I don't have my own oxygen. So well done. I want to acknowledge that.
So for me, and I'm not looking at my watch to see what time it is, every single morning without fail, I get my ass out of bed, whether I like it or not. Whether I like it or not, I get my ass out of bed, I put my shoes on, and I go for a walk.
Nice.
Okay?
Oh, fresh air. Let's just be really clear about why that's important, because people go, okay, yeah. Fresh air, daylight, rather than the light of a phone. Please not pick up our phone straight away, but daylight and fresh air and movement.
You know what? Whilst we're at it, I can't remember who it was that told me. I think it was my mentor or my coach who turned around and sussed me out. She said to me, remember who it was. She actually said to me, I bet that you go to bed with your phone. And I'm like, what? She went, I bet you any money that your phone is right by the side of your bed when you go to bed. And I'm like, might be. Until the day that I actually took my phone and plugged it into the kitchen when I go to bed and don't actually look at it until I wake up.
Nice.
Or until I've done that little walk, or until I've had that shower, until I've looked after the most important person in the world. And there are going to be some people out there that think that I'm very, very selfish. But let me make it really, really easy, right? I was talking about who you are in life. I can't be the dad that I can be without looking after myself first. I can't be the partner that I can be without looking after me first. I can't be the coach stroke mentor. If I do that again, kick me really hard. But I can't be that.
Inverted commas,
I did the inverted commas with the fingers, people. Sorry, right? But if it's totally, and I said this to a client and all of my clients, looking after me is totally non-negotiable.
Yeah,
and let me just explain, right? Let me explain something to everyone out there in the big bad podcast world, right? If you sit there and think to yourself, yeah, he's all right, he's got through it, he's all right, he's fine. I always remember I was on a podcast many, many years ago, and this story came up, and said person who was younger turned around and went, right, now you're over depression. And I was like, whoa. Bear with me a second. They were like, what? You hit depression in 2017. I went, whoa, 1 second, right? My depression is a point of reference now.
Yes.
Okay? So I'm not going to turn around and say, here you go, here's being real and raw. There's some mornings, V, I don't want to wake up and play the game.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
Right? And there's me being that's 7 years on from that day where I woke up and I was rocking like a crack addict, right? There are some days I don't want to play the game.
Yeah.
Let me whack a caveat there. I always want to be here. There's only 3 days in my life I haven't wanted to be here. I've never not wanted to be here. So I'm not in that space. But there are some days I look at my diary. So something to say today. I got V this morning. I got a client at 12 o'clock. I got to go and see someone at 2 o'clock. I got to go and pick something up. It's my mum's birthday tomorrow. No. So I got to go and pick something. See, look, that makes me smile.
Look at you smile. I was going to say, our people are important, right?
But listen, my people are more than. I'm getting emotional here. My people are more than important. You know,
Yeah.
I'm still blessed to have, at the age of 53, my mum and dad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm still
Yeah.
blessed to have my brother. I'm still blessed to have my kids. I'm
Yeah.
blessed to have friends. I'm blessed to have foes. I'm blessed to have
Yeah.
all of the above. But I want to explain to people, once you've been there, it becomes a point of reference. It doesn't mean you go back to it.
No.
It means that
Okay.
if anything comes in front of you, you actually sit there and go, right, okay. How did I deal with this in my darkest time?
Nice.
Right? So, okay, fine, right, okay. If I dealt with it then in my darkest time, this isn't my darkest time. It's a mind switch, Vanessa.
Yeah.
You know, and it's going back to them choices, right?
And reminding yourself that you were there once before, point of reference. You overcame it, another point of reference, so you can do it again and keep creating different point of references as you move forward.
At the end of every single session, V, I ask the same question. And my question to my clients is, and listen to the question. Listen to this question, please. Are you doing the best job that you can do? Are you doing the best job that you can do? So even if you do fuck up, even if you do mess up, even if you have that argument with someone, even if you leave someone and it should be left the way that you've left it, have you tried your best? Did you go out of your way to have an argument with someone? No, you fucking didn't.
No.
Did you go out of your way to feel bad? No, you fucking didn't. So the answer to the question is, we are always trying our best, right? And I think that if you're trying your best, even if it's shit or what's perceived as shit, then you've got to pick yourself up.
Well, again, use it as a point of reference, is recognize it. And then next time you now know how to do better, be better, think better, feel better.
I know for a fact, if I wake up and I'm not feeling it, I could very easily just stay in bed.
That's the point, right? Because you are succumbing to a past feeling, experience that has, at some point, it will always have a default because this is a human experience. It will pull you back.
Yeah.
And that is, how do you stay well, is first of all, recognizing how you feel, then acknowledge it. It's okay. This is my biggest thing, is we can only heal when we feel.
There's a terminology, it's a street terminology, and my kids get really wound up when I say it because I don't say it probably because I don't say it street, right? But it's allow it, right? I don't know whether you ever heard that before. Allow it.
Oh, allow it, yeah.
Right. In our language, it's allow it.
Allow it.
Okay, allow it. So
Yeah.
whenever I say allow it with my girls around, they're like, Dad, do you know what? You're really embarrassing, man. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, but you have to. You have to allow it.
To be what it is.
Yeah.
Right? Because depression is when we focus too much on the past, and we can feel anxious when we worry too much about the future and what isn't here yet, the unknown. Both are an inability to be present. And by getting up and going for your walk first thing brings you to the present moment. How can somebody not be present? And I suppose we can be, but isn't it giving ourselves the best possibility to feel present when we've got the wind blowing in our hair, when the cold is nipping at our nose, when we're moving our bodies?
Feel it.
And that's just being present.
Feel
and I
it.
think the problem I think that people struggle with, or the barrier that people struggle with any kind of mental illness, shall we say, is the fact that they don't think that they have a choice. They feel disempowered. And the only time, in my experience, I've ever felt a point of power is when I'm present. Whether that is being out in the wind, whether that is feeling grateful, whether that is seekingly looking for something positive to inspire me and make me smile, just like you smiled when you talked about your mum. So
Yeah.
by keeping it super simple as we wrap up, right?
Kiss.
Kids, keep it super simple, right? Kiss it. It's okay to be where you are, and where you are is exactly the point where you can be present.
And you know what? Sometimes you're not going to like what I'm going to say here, people. You need to be where you are.
Well, because you can't be anywhere else.
Right? Well, you need to be there because it's kind of like an alarm bell.
Yeah.
Whoa, hello. You're not feeling great, you snooze. No. Stop snoozing.
Yeah.
Stop snoozing that
Yeah.
and listen to it. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you have to sit, and I've had this before, it doesn't mean that you have to sit in said pity party.
No.
Right?
Acknowledge it.
Do you know what? It's really strange you say that, because one of the exercises that I do with my clients is, I call it burn, baby, burn. Right? So if you're sitting there and you're dwelling in all this negativity, get it written down on a bit of paper, read it, digest it.
Yeah.
Roll it up, set fire to it, and watch it burn.
Brilliant. I love that. And that is a simple tool that anybody can use when they choose to do it for themselves.
But
to help themselves.
Them choices.
That greasy hole. Them choices. Exactly.
Them choices. Do you know, it does worry me, that stat that you came up with the youth, right? Because these are the people that are going to be running our lives.
Yes. Exactly.
How warped are they before they get to run our lives?
Well, they're trying hard, aren't they? I think from my own experience with my kids, I can see them wanting to know who they truly are. And I think that we have a responsibility as adults, as elders, I'm doing the inverted commas bit here, from the benefit of our experience, allow them, the most loving thing we can do for somebody is allow them to be themselves.
Agreed. But your depression is not going to be the same as my depression. My depression isn't going to be the same as Dave's depression.
Yeah.
So it's going back to it. You turned around about it before. Being a parent teaches you a huge amount. It's the best job I've ever had.
Yeah.
A tad underpaid, I may add, but it's the best.
Long hours.
Right? If you're listening, kids, I got no money left. Right. But it's that having been there, seen it and done it.
Yeah.
And knowing that the way that you got through it isn't the way that someone else is going to get through it.
And that's the key to holding the space.
Absolutely.
Right?
Listening.
And loving people where they are and listen, be silent, like you say. I've got one final question for you. What would you say is your greatest learning in life, or the statement that defines what your life has taught you?
I remember you saying to me many years ago, and it was quite deep, right? What would be your last words of advice?
Mm.
And I was like, what do you mean? V said to me, right, you're on your deathbed, you're just about to die. And I was like, oh, thanks, babe. Really appreciate that. Cheers. But what would your last... Keep it real and keep it raw.
Yeah.
Or let's flip it up. Keep it raw and keep it real.
Right.
Now,
and that's who you truly are.
Yeah, but I'm going to aggravate some people, right? And do you know what? I'm okay with that. Yeah. There was always something, and I've got to share this with you. You're a blessing, Vanessa. You are an absolute blessing, right?
Thank you.
Because some of the stuff that comes out of your mouth, you don't realise how phenomenal it is. And again, many, many years ago, you turned around and likened our feelings and who we are and how we approach stuff and how we talk about stuff with water. Right? And I'm fortunate enough that I live by a canal. So I've often found walking along the canal, just sitting there watching the water flow. Now, and we've got locks here, so I'm on a canal, right? So I work it out like this. When the water hits the lock, it stops. But when that lock's opened, the water then flows and it carries on going, doing something else. And the same applies to any obstacle that's in that water's way. That water is fluid. Yes. It will go over, around, under. It will get past that block.
Yes.
So keep it real, keep it raw, and act like water. I think is the top tips that
I love that. Act like water. Allow your heart to be open.
Allow it, not allow it. Allow it, yeah? Allow it.
Allow it, our new word for today. Oh, bless you. Sweetheart, where can people find out more about you?
Well, if they want to come on Facebook and follow Neil Giller, there is an X rating. It's probably turned into a triple X rating. So I'm going to tell you, I do swear, but the majority of the stuff I put out there is to lift people up.
Yeah, I was going to say it's light, it's bright,
right.
It's funny. Right. Yeah.
Right. And the people, the message, I mean, I got a message yesterday from a lovely, lovely girl in my network. And her only words were, "Thank you for being who you are."
And there, my lovely, is the gift with the bow on it, isn't it? And
Keep it
therefore,
real, keep it raw. Just be you.
if
And if people don't like it,
yeah,
fuck them. Right? Seriously.
bless you. But if they do want to find you, where can they find you and your website?
Website, The Real Neil, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and I'm not living up to everyone's expectations. I'm being who I am, and I'm happy with who I am. It's as simple as that, V.
And thank you for your kind words. And may I say, you are a blessing. Thank you for being a light in our lives. I really appreciate you, who you are. He's giving me heart signs with his fingers right now. My
You're going to make
sign.
me cry in a minute. We need to finish this. We need to finish this.
Bless you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, V. I really appreciate it, and you. Thank you. Keep on doing what you're doing and keep on shining, my lovely.
I will do. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
The invitation is to take a few moments to reflect on what's resonated with you here today. Let us know what you find. Share this episode with those you love to practice your vulnerability and enable deeper connection with self, others, and the world around you. May you feel blessed and loved as you live your days with purpose and presence. Thank you for being here, and thank you for choosing you. I love you.